Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Tuesday night, the rare Tuesday show that you're stuck with me. We wanted to give ourselves a chance to talk about the first day of fully padded practice. So I do appreciate Easton, who normally gives me my Tuesday nights off, switching with me, and he'll be with you guys on Thursday. But I wanted the opportunity to talk about Cam Ward's first bad practice at Titans in a Titans uniform, and it just so happened to be the first fully padded practice of Titans training camp. We'll have another one tomorrow before we go on the road to Tampa Bay and Atlanta, which you guys, I guess we would be down there for. It's really just going to be the Thursday night primetime show that you guys will be with me in Tampa. Wednesday night, I'm going to travel. So we'll have to figure out a way that makes sense. But then, of course, we'll be in Atlanta for several more days, and they will have 2 joint training camp practices against the Falcons, only 1 joint practice against the Bucs. But tonight we are talking about Cam Ward and Cam Ward's first practice. Cam Ward's first bad practice. That title should say why Cam Ward's first bad practice as a Titan is actually a good thing. Because I don't think that he's outright struggled in multiple practices, at least, Bert, to read that the way that you wrote it. Maybe that's my fault. I can't remember if that's exactly what I said, but that's okay. I mean, there have been struggles in practice. There is a couple of different things that are worth talking about here, because a lot of times you guys ask me, well, how does Cam look? How does Cam look? How does Cam look? And for the most part, I don't know. It's a week. He's been out there for a week, and then he has the Saturday Nissan Stadium practice, and much is made about really 2 good throws that he had on the day. And, I would argue it's probably the best practice that he's had as a Titan. And then he followed it up with his worst practice as a Titan, which is something that we are going to dive into tonight. So with all that to say, we are going to talk about why I think it's a good thing. I think it's an absolutely good thing. Because Pamela Smith says, no, he was supposed to be the best. Well, I mean, he is the best quarterback out of that draft class, but that doesn't mean that he's perfect. They don't get to the NFL as a finished product. That's why the 6-part Cam Ward Tubi documentary bothers me so much. His NFL career hasn't really begun. Honestly, it didn't really begin until today, because today is the first time that they have pads on, and that's the first time that it actually looks like real football. And you know what happened? He threw 3 interceptions. That shit's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's a good thing that it happened in particular today. In fact, Cosell is going to tell you why he thought it was a good thing today. We will discuss at length together on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Share the show around before we get started. I forgot to change the end of show graphic. We're not going to do Bert's in case you missed it. Obviously, we will do Gone Viral, as is the Tuesday custom. I think I still remember how to do Gone Viral, and we got a doozy for you tonight. But in the meantime, we did have the first day of full pads at practice, and Cam Ward's struggles are going to be the large part of the discussion here this evening. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Tuesday night, July 29th. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the wonderful people at TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch, where you go for the best workout in Middle Tennessee. TrueMathFitness.com for that first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMathFitness.com is there to go above and beyond for you. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service is what they offer you. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So we kicked Easton and Ross off of Tuesday nights because me and Bert wanted to talk about fully padded practice, and Bert's going whitewater rafting this weekend, so he wasn't going to be available on Thursday anyway, so it ended up working out quite nicely. He's lucky I didn't decide to throw him on camera while he's in the middle of waving whatever was in front of his face out of his way. But with that said, we are going to talk about Cam Ward's struggles today, because he did struggle today. It was okay. It was okay until really the last team drill, and then the wheels kind of came off. And not in the same way that I get frustrated when people talk about sacks and they blame all the sacks on the offensive line. When in reality, sacks are a quarterback stat, and there's far more evidence to indicate that the quarterback is responsible for sacks than an actual offensive lineman is. Do linemen get beat? Of course they do. Can linemen give up sacks? Of course they can. But more often than not, when you look at the quarterback situation, The quarterback is more responsible for causing those sacks than the offensive lineman is. I look at interceptions the same way. Interceptions are not exclusively on the quarterback because there were a couple of interceptions today. In fact, 2 of the 3, one was just a bad throw, but 2 of the 3 I didn't necessarily put on Cam, but he did throw 3 interceptions, and obviously that's not something that you can have in a situation where you led the league in turnovers last year. You can't be putting yourself in a situation. You can't be putting your quarterback in that situation. Bork says he about cried when Bert started punching that dummy last night. Yeah, that's just one of many things that exist in Bert's sad little office back there. Austin Hall says Jared Stillman made it sound like Cam Ward's bad day was the end of the world. I mean, I don't know, Jared. I was standing and watching practice with Jared. And I love Stillman for a great many reasons, but he not everything is the end of the world, because I think the question that he asked me today on the sideline was, if you had to bet right now, would Cam be a star quarterback or would Cam be a bust? I said, well, why can't he just be average? Like, if he's average as a number 1 overall pick, that'd still be considered a bust, right? And he goes, no, it has to be bust or the best quarterback in the world. And I was like, I mean, okay, whatever. Like, that's just the way that he operates. And I enjoy it for entertainment value. I know it bothers some of you because you want him to take it more seriously. I mean, Jared is actually closer to one of you than he is to me because he's a Titans fan. He's a season ticket holder. He actually he roots for the Titans, which is funny. Some of the stuff that he goes about talking about that way. Tighten Up Dread says, I like the teammates trash talking, gets me hyped up every time. And we talked to Gunnar Helm about that, the rookie tight end. He enjoys Jeff Simmons and Cam Ward trash talking each other. But the defense talks a lot more shit and deserves to talk a lot more shit because they've been the better unit basically since camp started. But that's normal for training camp. And again, that's okay. Like, this is what I'm here to say. The Two Rivers Ford take is what we'll start with. Scale of 1 to 10. How concerned are you with Cam Ward's 3 interceptions today at practice? Let me know in the comment section. We'll talk about it together. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch is how you jump in and get involved there. We'd be happy to have your participation. Scale of 1 to 10. Give me a number 1 through 10, and you can provide an explanation for why you gave the number that you gave on how concerned you are with Cam Ward throwing 3 picks and having his worst day as a Titans player. In the comment section is where you can do that. It is made possible by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service is what they give you, and employee pricing for everyone. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more details. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with Cam Ward's 3 interceptions that he threw at practice today? Mike S. asks an important question. What situations were they running in team period? Any 2-minute? Robert, I don't see him right now. He might still have his headphones on and be able to hear us, but I don't remember them running 2-minute today. At least that's not what I had in my notes. It was a lot of base offense versus base defense. It's first day of pads, so maybe tomorrow they'll do some 2-minute, but I didn't notice a 2-minute situation today in particular. So they ran the standard. They did routes on air. They did one-on-ones for the offensive linemen and the defensive linemen. They did one-on-ones for the wide receivers and the defensive backs. Excuse me. They then went into 7-on-7, and then 7-on-7. They had a couple of different team periods. So they did one team period, did a special teams period, then finished practice with another team period, and that's where the wheels really fell off. He threw 2 of those 3 interceptions in the final team period. Darrell Baker Jr. got one. Xavier Woods got one. Ooh, who's the third one that picked off Cam Ward? I have it in my notes somewhere. Let me pull it up. But 3 interceptions is what he threw. And so, as you look at the different things that you get out of Cam right now and how he goes about operating and the level of expectation that you have for a number 1 overall draft pick, I think it's okay to look around and be like, yeah, Cam wasn't perfect today, but he's not supposed to be perfect. And in fact, he is supposed to have some of these struggles that it's taken a couple of days for him to have these struggles is completely and totally fair. So interception, one came with Cam Ward, miscommunication with Chig Okonkwo. I think Chig was in the wrong spot and Cam let it loose, and a player was able to capitalize on the ball. Devondre Sweat tipped the ball up to Gabe Judy-Lally. And the ball was also low and behind Jaquan Jackson on that pick. And then the third one was it was a bad throw. It's just a lob up to Josh Wiley, who, by the way, is 6'7". So, I don't blame Cam for trying to lob it up to a 6'7" player. But Darrell Baker Jr. was there waiting over the top of the 6'7" Wiley to get the interception. And Cam puts a lot of air under these balls. That the first play, for those of you who went to the Nissan Stadium practice on Saturday, first play of 7-on-7, Cam Ward had the defensive back been any good in that situation. I can't remember what number it was that was defending Ridley on that play, but Cam Ward has a tendency to leave deep throws, at least in the early going. It's the first 2 weeks. It doesn't mean that every deep throw looks like this. It doesn't mean that it's not a correctable situation. But the observation, when you guys ask, hey, how's Cam look? Well, one of the observations is, on deep balls, he's late and he's short. That first pass that a lot of people described as a bomb to Calvin Ridley, well, he's late and he's short on it because Ridley could have kept running for a touchdown, but Ridley had to adjust, turn around, come up for the ball, and just kind of maneuver around the defensive back. Ridley able to make a play on the ball, but in an NFL game with a better defensive back, that's getting intercepted. So Cam is going to that's one of the things that Cam Ward has to work on. And you want him to make these mistakes early. Again, these are good things that he's making errors now. If it continues, then it becomes a problem. But how he corrects those mistakes is the important part. Curtis says a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10 is how concerned he is. Bork, and like I said on YouTube, say 3. John Vargas goes even lower, 2. So does Torland Styles on YouTube. On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with Cam Ward's 3 interception practice today? So with all the different things that you have going on, it is important for Cam Ward to make these mistakes. What will be even more important is how he makes the corrections. I have no concern about Cam Ward responding or making some of the corrections. He may not make all of the corrections tomorrow, but I have a pretty high degree of confidence in that player, given who he's been his entire collegiate career and the work ethic that he shows and the skills that he has to be able to rebound from that. So I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 1. Practice is for making mistakes. How you workshop those mistakes is going to be the most important thing. And that's exactly what we talked to Cosell about when he sat down with us at the very end of practice today. Yeah, we were just discussing, a day for the offense where they're working through a little bit of adversity there. Cam, I'm sure, is going to be hypercritical of himself. I wonder what you saw from your vantage point on the opposite sideline from us.
Well, the best thing about it was they started practice at 8 a.m.
Amen, brother. We're for that. As many of these 7:40 press conferences as you want to throw at us, I'm good with it. Let's get practice done before the show. Get on with the day.
Buck, we've talked about this. It's the first day of pads. Almost always defense is ahead of offense. So you don't want to overdo the fact that there wasn't efficiency in the passing game on the offensive side of the ball when they went 11 on 11 and they played football. And I think coaches want that to be the case, particularly early in camp. The offensive coaches in particular, because they want to have things that they can correct. The biggest thing about camp with coaches, because, now that I've been here, and obviously this is not the first camp I've been to in my NFL career, the biggest thing with coaches is correction. They want to coach. I've been fortunate enough to sit in on meetings throughout my career in training camp, and that's what these guys do. They don't sing Kumbaya, they coach, and that's what you want to be able to do. So, I think that there were some times where the defense clearly got the better of the offense in terms of the pass game, and that maybe Cam didn't read it exactly the way he should have. That was probably the case on that last interception by Darrell Baker. And these are things he'll learn. Yeah. And the key thing is you want to learn them now. You don't want to learn them week 1 in Denver. You want to learn them now. And the one thing about Cam, I did have an opportunity to talk to him yesterday. I was here yesterday as well.
You've been here for a couple of days.
I have. And I'll be here again tomorrow.
Lucky us.
But when I met him with Mike Borgonzi yesterday after practice, and Mike, did me a real solid by kind of telling Cam exactly who I was. So, I'm not just some guy standing there saying, hey, how are you? And the first thing Cam said to me, and I thought this said a lot, after Mike, kind of set me up, and the first thing Cam said to me was, so what do you think I need to work on? What do you think I need to get better at? And I thought that was a really telling first question for someone he really just met. Even though I was set up with what I do, it was not a BS conversation. He wanted to know, because he found out that I really study tape, and Mike thankfully said to him that I was the best guy who does this stuff. So the first thing he said was, what do I need to get better at? And I think that's the attitude you want to have right now.
And you don't have to share all the details, but what was the feedback?
That's the follow-up.
Yeah.
What does he need to get better at?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to tell you guys.
The install with Greg Cosell.
Right.
Subscribe, rate, review.
Well, I think that the thing you always have to get better at, and it's true for any quarterback that's coming into the NFL, is you have to get better at seeing the middle of the field with clarity, seeing between the numbers. Because in college, even though Cam, more so than probably 90% of the college quarterbacks that I've watched over the years, within the context of the University of Miami offense, did make throws between the numbers, it's just a different game in the NFL. It just seems as if there's more people inside. And you can actually see that today at times when he dropped back and he sort of held the ball for that extra beat.
Yeah.
There's just a sense of clarity that takes that extra beat. And obviously in the NFL, you can't take that extra beat. But that's what training camp is for, is to learn all those things. And he did make a couple of really nice throws. There was one I remember to DK right between the numbers that he put right on the money with really good timing. So you're going to see ups and you're going to see downs. The important thing is I speak to people in the organization, and they're well aware of this, is you don't want to get too high with the ups and you don't want to get too down with the downs. It's a process. This was the first day in pads. This was the first day they've played, that Cam Ward has played real football as a Tennessee Titan.
So that is a part of our visit with Cosell. If you want to check out the full conversation, we also had Gunnar Helm on the radio show. Tomorrow, Cosell and I are going to interview Nick Holtz, the Titans offensive coordinator, and I think that's the best for you. We did a really good interview. Well, it was really good because Greg is essentially asking Denard Wilson much smarter football questions than I ever could. We did one with Denard like that last year. We're going to do Holtz tomorrow, and we're looking forward to that. And that will be the last day of Titans training camp here for 2 weeks, because then we'll be on the road for the rest of it. Now, on the road, we're still going to do those interviews. And, I need to touch base with the people that work for the Bucs and the Falcons to see if they're I'd like to talk to James Pierce Jr., if that's something that's viable. They may not make him available to me, but I think it's at least worth asking. So, but anyway, point being, Cosell is articulating exactly the kind of stuff that makes a day like today for Cam Ward completely fine, completely routine, completely normal. It's not that deep. I saw a comment that made me laugh. And Robert put the Gunnar Helm interview in the YouTube, or in the live stream chat for you guys to link to 1045 The Zone's YouTube channel, which you should also like and subscribe. While you're there, you can catch the live show with Robert and me and Lucas, and sometimes Cosell, and sometimes Titans players, and sometimes Titans coaches, sometimes Josh Pate, all manner of good people that hang out with us. But really good insight there from Greg, just to kind of be like, hey, this is why it's okay. This is what we're seeing right now. This is what he has to do tomorrow, but it's okay. This happens to every rookie quarterback ever. With all the different things that you have going on at this point, Cam Ward needed a day like this. Humbled is the wrong word, because I don't think that Cam Ward lacks humility, but he needs to have just like a gut check type of practice to, okay, keep it. I don't doubt that he's going to work hard anyway, but I want that urgency to continue to be there, and bad practices will bring out the best version of a competitor in those situations. And I have no doubt that Cam Ward will respond just fine. I'm not worried about Cam Ward. My scale of 1 to 10 concern is a 1 based off today's practice. I am not concerned at all about it. If I could say 0, but he threw 3 interceptions. I'm not going to gaslight you and be like, oh yeah, it's completely fine when that happens. Bork on YouTube asks, why does Buck do the radio show in a power pose? I don't like sitting, especially practice. I don't like to sit. It's hot. I don't want to just sit and sweat. And actually, it's a lovely setup that the Titans give us on the SeatGeek Terrace, which I do appreciate, because it's at least in the shade and there's fans above, and it's easy access to bathrooms and snacks and beverages and all those kind of things. So I do like doing it up there, but I just those like raised bar stool type of seats that they have. For those of you who've been on there, they just, I don't know. They make me uncomfortable, so I'd rather just stand. So yeah, that's the power pose. Anyway, with the Titans in particular, as we move forward tomorrow, we will talk to Nick Holtz about the offensive line. Offensive line had a better day than the defensive line did. Although when it came to team, individually, like in the one-on-ones, I thought the offensive line did better than the defensive line. When we got the team, the defensive line did a lot better than the offensive line did. The Titans couldn't run the ball on Sweat and Jeff and Sebastian Joseph Day and them. Titans had trouble with the passing game. Cam Ward was kind of under duress. There were sacks, there were picks, there were good plays by the defense. So I think it's a good level of competition that they got right now. Again, I have no idea how good this football team might actually be. This is probably a 6-win football team if you had to make me guess. But that doesn't mean that they can't be significantly more competitive and significantly more competent based on the stuff that they're able to do out on the field. Kevin says, I don't miss the days of counting the streak of completions Mariota had without a pick. Yeah, his rookie year. We're talking about national Titans coverage. Marcus Mariota's completion streak or lack of interception streak was something that everybody in the league was talking about until he finally threw one. Bork says, surprised you haven't gone on a rant about the media limitations imposed on y'all for the first padded practice. I mean, like, I can still watch it. It's just that you guys can't see it. And I mean, if I was running this company, and I don't, because I don't want to, and because Austin and Zach are far smarter business people than I am, and also A to Z, Austin to Zach, it's their company. I just happen to be their first full-time employee. I know how their business model works, and I have tremendous amount of respect for the company, the way that they've built the company up. The company is in part driven on social media engagement and content that you're able to provide on Instagram and TikTok and shit like that. And today, because the Titans fired their PR director of 28 years, who's always really fought on behalf of media to make sure that we have, I would say, above average access relative to the rest of the league. The new media policies do not allow for us to shoot one-on-ones to show you guys. So, I mean, it hurts you more than it hurts me because I'm still out there at practice watching these things, and I can tell you about it, but it's less fun for you to hear about it from me as opposed to seeing it on your Instagram real timeline and stuff like that. So, I mean, the rant, like I said, I'm still getting access and still able to watch. I'm just not able to share all of the visuals with you guys that way. You'll see it when we get to football games. I mean, not that I'm not, not that I'm saying, less access is a good thing, but my access hasn't changed. Your access has changed in that sense. In fact, I don't know that my access has ever been better, to be completely honest with you. It's just how much we're able to continue to show you guys, which is the thing that is changing. Bork said, dang, they fired. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they fired a bunch of people this offseason. They want to be the new Titans, whatever. And maybe they're worth a shit as the new Titans. I don't know. I mean, whatever they've been doing is been bad. But Robbie Boren, who was their head of PR the entire time that they've been the Tennessee Titans, was excellent at his job. So they're a worse organization for not having Robbie, even though the new head of PR, Everett Gearlings, I believe is his last name, who came over from the Houston Texans. I've really enjoyed getting to know him, and I knew him a little before. We've had some interactions at the combine and stuff like that prior to him getting the job full time here. And I do love the people that were retained on the PR staff too, because they've been here the entire time that I've been here. Dwight Spradlin, 26 years. Jared Puffer has been here for not quite that long, but almost as long. And then Kaylee and Travis do a really good job. So while they did get rid of my boy Robbie, and I love Robbie, and in fact we had a Titans media dinner with Robbie the other night, which I really enjoyed. It was our first opportunity to give him a send-off, because obviously when he got fired, all of us who have been working with Robbie, I mean, like PK and Glennon have known him their entire careers. So it was nice. We all took Robbie out for a steak dinner last Sunday night, which is why we had an early prime time, which I appreciate you guys helping me out with. Anyway, tomorrow, how Cam Ward responds. I'm going to have more focus on the offense and the defense, or rather the offensive line and the defensive line, as opposed to watching. I watched a lot of wide receivers and defensive backs today because I thought we were going to talk to Tyler Lockett initially. Tyler Lockett got hurt, had to leave practice, or at least didn't finish practice. I don't know how hurt he is. He still actually came up to the radio setup, and then PR had to come up and say, "Hey, if you leave practice, we're not gonna do media stuff." So it wasn't because Lockett didn't want to do it. In fact, Tyler showed up, and then a couple of people had to come grab him and be like, "No, our policy is this, that, and the other." So anyway, Nick Holtz tomorrow, Gunnar Helm today. Robert dropped the link in the YouTube chat. You can check that, or in the live stream chat. You guys can check that out for yourself after we wrap up. A little bit of gone viral, and then we'll move on for the evening and wrap up the show. What's the best thing that you saw on the internet this week? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Or what was the nature of the question we asked, Bert? Can you remind me the exact phrasing of the question? If you would, it's probably in my email. I don't have my email pulled up.
What is the funniest thing you've ever seen happen at a baseball game?
Okay.
There are a couple submissions.
Well, we have the submission to end all submissions here. Bert kind of fought me on me wanting to play this video, but I said, you don't see anything. What's the problem? I mean, you see something, but you don't actually see what's going on there. You don't see the penetration, which is a tease for what we are getting ready to talk about next, right after I remind you that TrueMav Fitness will help you accomplish your fitness goals. They will go above and beyond to help you achieve what you have been trying to achieve. And the most important thing for me is I don't yo-yo because of TrueMav Fitness. I've had phases where Stillman asked me how much I weigh today for some reason. And I'm hovering right around 210, between 210 and 215, depending on the day. But it's healthy weight and not 248 like I used to be, even though I'm over 200. They've helped me build lean muscle mass. They've helped me cut down on the habits that I have that were causing my weight to yo-yo when I would get a handle on it, but then let it go because football season started and I started eating like shit again. TrueMav Fitness have given me the tools to make sure that I can keep my fitness in check, which just, is now I get into my, I'm 32 now. I'm getting closer and closer to my mid-30s. I just care more about how I feel. It's harder for me to have energy that I need to do a training camp practice outside in 110-degree heat if I feel like shit because I stayed up too late and ate a bunch of crap the night before and didn't work out the way that I need to. TrueMav Fitness is helping me do all of those things. They will come up with a plan specific to you, TrueMavFitness.com, for your first workout free. Curtis says they stopped you eating $50 donuts. It was just the one $50 donut. And I still have a picture of that donut on my phone. I do it again. It was a key lime pie donut. Woof, woof. Owners meetings. Unbelievable. I still have dreams about that donut. And that I don't really eat donuts that much, but that one was worth it. Anyway, with all the different things that you see on or at a baseball game. Oh, you want to participate in this conversation after you didn't want to play the video?
Yeah, well, I want to distract from that video and kind of give people a chance, if you know what's coming, maybe to go into a dark room and close the door and put your sound on mute and maybe just watch in case you're embarrassed. I have a couple submissions.
In case you're embarrassed is not where I thought you were going with this. I thought you were saying
I'm gonna put my heels right up here on both corners of my desk while I'm watching it, but that's just me. My favorite things to ever happen, the funniest things to ever happen during a baseball game for me are the big unit throwing that ball and exploding that bird. That was possibly one of the coolest things that's ever happened at a baseball game. Do you remember the video where the dude was holding a hot dog and he had a beer in his little koozie?
Yeah. He's drinking the hot dog, or
he sticks the straw through the hot dog to then the beer. That's pretty good.
That makes my stomach upset, thinking about it.
I'm gonna do it next time I'm at a game just to send it to you.
We should go to a Sounds game and you do that. I'll probably take a video and put it on Twitter for your clout that you've been chasing here recently.
Or mustard ketchup beers. Those could catch on. I bet that would be good. You squirt a little mustard and ketchup in your crappy beer, swirl it with the dog.
Also, first pitches are famously hilarious, or can be famously hilarious. The most recent one is Taylor Lewan shitting the bed on his first pitch.
I was trying to think who. I knew somebody had thrown a terrible one, but I couldn't remember.
Lewan had a really bad one at a Cardinals game here about a month ago. But that's not as bad as what happened at this Phillies game.
Wait. Let me get out of here.
He went the opposite direction of the direction he's supposed to go. It's so bad. Anyway, I am for, I have no issue with PDA. Never had an issue with PDA in my life. You want to hold hands in public. You want to make out in public. You want to, have sex in public as long as it's not in a place that inconveniences me. I don't care what you do in your spare time. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to finger blast your girl at a Yankees Phillies game at Yankee Stadium, at least have the common decency to use some hand sanitizer. This is the gone viral video of the week.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. We've got millions of free child-based holidays available, with 22 kilograms of baggage included. But now, with Jet 2 holidays, package holidays you can trust, absolutely protected.
The end of that video, she starts rocking back and forth. Look, Bert didn't want to use that video tonight. I said, you don't see anything, but yeah, I mean, you know what's going on there. The fact that my guy is just kick back. Oh, I about fell out of my chair. Kick back, chilling. One hand on the side, the other hand, on his girl, and going to town that way is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Also disgusting. Wash your hand. God knows how many different disgusting things that man has touched just in Yankee Stadium alone. I mean, holding the grip on the subway en route to Yankee Stadium. Ugh. That, I don't know who I think less of in that moment, the guy or the girl. Because, if you're the woman, not now, bud. Just even wait until you get in the Uber or the cab home. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And Major Keys says, and she's going with it. Yeah, she absolutely went with it, which is why I don't know who I'm more concerned about in that situation, the man or the woman. But either way, a Yankees-Phillies game, you're always going to see something, I guess. Anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great, it also gave me the opportunity to say the phrase knuckle deep on the radio show today, which I thought Allen Kirby was going to fall out of his chair, but it delighted me. It was, you can't let those things go. Bork says, how soon until Austin or Zach text Buck WTF? I mean, it's an internet show and that's a gone viral video, and we couldn't find a more viral video than that one this week. So I'm just doing the show. I'm doing what they pay me to do. Even if I take some liberties with that every once in a while. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out. Radio show tomorrow. Greg Cosell, Titans offensive coordinator Nick Holtz. You'll also hear from Cam Ward after his second day of fully padded practice. We have football this week, and we have the Hall of Fame game this week, which is also why I'm happy that we took Thursday off prime time, because I get to watch Trey Lance start the game for the Chargers, which is going to be disgusting. But we'll, at least NFL football is back in our lives. Week 0 right around the corner. In college, preseason for the Titans getting ready to get underway. It is going to be a beautiful semi-pro football mess, but we'll be here to cover it all with you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Go home! Go home!